Welcome back, everyone, to Freaky Tales podcast on this Saturday evening. Once again, we usually have these on Fridays, but lately we've been going Thursdays, Saturdays. You know, I think we even did one on a Sunday. And I just want to apologize for that, but I'm trying to do them, you know, according to my schedule, as my schedule allows me. I have a lot of things going on. I have a lot of things on my plate, so I'm trying to keep them going. So, and I truly appreciate you guys tuning in and having patience with me. So, once again, thank you. And if you guys haven't checked out, once again, what we have on our catalog here as far as Freaky Tales, just let me go back down the line. 8 days ago, we had Animal Possession. We talked about, can animals be possessed? So that was the name of our show, or episode, I should say. Animal Possession. The one before that one was, we talked about 666, the number 666, which is actually 666, okay? Then before that, we talked about hell. What is it going to be like in hell? I don't plan on going there, but we still talked about it. And then we came up with Head in a Bucket. Head in a Bucket. And that was a show where we talked about Taylor Shabusiness. Taylor Shabusiness. And before that, we talked about shadow people. Shadow people. So there's just so many things that I wish you guys would tune into and check it out. I want to thank everybody who likes, comments, subscribes, and shares with everyone about this show. And please continue to do so. Other than that, I got something interesting that I want to share with you guys tonight that I think you guys would definitely enjoy. And I'll tell you where I got the idea from. You know, I don't watch a lot of podcasts. I really don't. Because I see that a lot of podcasters, some do an amazing job. Some do a great job. But the reason why I don't watch a lot of like sci-fi or horror or mystery podcasts is because a lot of you that are telling, you know, horror stories or stories about somebody that was murdered or somebody or a serial killer, many of you guys do it in such a comical way that I find it disrespectful. If I had a family member that was brutally killed, that was mutilated, decapitated, you know, and this person threw his body parts all over town, and then if one of you guys covered it and talked about it like if it was some type of joke, believe me, you would be hearing from me. I would find out who you are, and I would tell you to take that damn thing down. And a lot of you guys, to be quite honest, you really piss me off when you guys are there podcasting and talking about these crimes and say it in a jokingly manner. Now, you may say, well, Tony, that's my personality. I don't care. We're talking about people's families. We're talking about people's family members that were murdered or went missing or were kidnapped. And you guys like to talk about them like if it's some type of comedy show. So that's why I don't watch a lot of YouTube when it comes to a lot of like horror or mystery, because of you YouTubers. And then there's good ones out there. Let me talk about the good ones. You know, there's some good ones out there, you know. I want to promote my friend's Dark Secrets page. These are stories that are coming from a person who was a mortician for many, many years. So she's worked with the dead. And what really intrigued me about her story, because when she told me that she'd rather work with the dead than the living. And that once again, and that's Forever Genesis. Most of you guys know her as Magic Girl, but from here on out, she is Genesis. Her page is Dark Secrets. She's loading up content weekly. So subscribe to her YouTube page and also follow her on her Instagram, which you can find on the description. Her Instagram's on the description, and so is her YouTube. So make sure you guys do that. So I want to applaud everybody that is doing a great job when you report a lot of these crimes or a lot of these stories. Thank you. And for the other guys that joke around, you will never have my support because of the way you treat people, families, the way you treat the victims of these families. You know, many of you guys glorify these serial killers, and there's nothing to glorify about these guys. These guys were psychopaths, and you guys like to make jokes about what they did, not knowing that their families could be watching while you're there laughing. So I approach this show with respect. Now, I was going through social media. Many of you guys can follow me on my page, and it's there on under my name, Tony A. Freaky Tales Podcast. So, you know, and I never really come off this aggressive on this podcast, but going through what I'm going to talk about tonight, I just started to think about all these people that make jokes about these people that are no longer here. I want to bring up OJ really quick. If you could bring up his first picture, please let me know when it's up. Whether OJ is guilty or not, half the world, if not all of the world, thinks OJ was guilty, okay? Some people say, no, he was not guilty, but he's no longer here. We all know that he was, in the criminal case, he was found not guilty. In the civil case, he was found guilty, okay? This man ended up passing away. A lot of people see him as a murderer, killer, etc. That's between him and God now. He's no longer here. I'm no longer going to talk about this man. But I do want to say something that intrigued me to talk about this topic. And I want to call this Any Last Words. Any last words. These are the last words of serial killers. Okay? And I'm going to talk about 5. But what intrigued me, or what was it that motivated me to talk about this topic? And it was OJ. For a while, it was trending that on the day that OJ Simpson died, there was a tweet released on his Twitter. And if you could please bring that up, Alex. And they say that right before he died, he tweeted this. And people say, no, it was fake. It was phony. It was never on his page. This is Photoshop. This is not true. I don't know. But this was what was circulating. And Alice, can you please read us what that tweet says?
The tweet says, I did it.
I did it. Now, I'm not saying that he posted this. Others say that he did. He posted it, and then when he died, somebody went on his Twitter and deleted it. Some people got screenshots of it. Again, is this real? Is it Photoshop? I don't know. But this was what's circulating. Is it possible, and that's all I'm asking, is it possible that these were his last words? I did it. More of a confession. You know, there was a video that a lot of people may have seen or may not have seen. And it was a video of OJ Simpson giving a hypothetical scenario if he would have done it. And he has somebody interviewing him and asking him, in a hypothetical scenario, how would you have done it? And he goes and explains everything. I encourage you guys to go watch that movie because I truly believe by watching that video, by his own admission, I believe he's confessing that what he did. So, once again, whether that's true or not, are these his last words? I don't know. But let's get into my freaky tales last words. So let's go with Jeffrey Dahmer. If you could please bring up Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer, if you guys don't know who Jeffrey Dahmer is, this is his picture. Please Google him. I've talked about him several times. This guy was sentenced to 957 years. 957 years. And you'll say, for what? Jeffrey Dahmer was known as the Milwaukee Cannibal, or the Monster of Milwaukee. Jeffrey Dahmer shocked the world with his gruesome acts of necrophilia and cannibalism. Necrophilia, having touched or something sexual with somebody who was deceased. Okay? He was known for sleeping with dead bodies. And cannibalism, eating human flesh, eating bodies. You know, there was a interview that was released by Jeffrey Dahmer's mom that it did not make it in the Netflix series of the Jeffrey Dahmer story. I had heard that it was filmed, but it was taken off the Netflix series. But later on, when Jeffrey Dahmer's mom was interviewed, she had said that Jeffrey later on confessed to her that he would look in the newspapers and look up the next local funeral or the next local viewing or the next local burial and go to the viewing, pretend he was a family member. And the next day when they would do the burial, he would show up. Then when the family would leave and they'd bury this person, he would dig them up and have sexual acts or, if you will, sleep with the body. He was into necrophilia. This is what this monster was doing. Okay? So once again, necrophilia and cannibalism, convicted of murdering 17 young men. Dahmer was killed by a fellow inmate in prison on November 28, 1994. He had only served 3 years of his 957 years. Part of the reason why one of his cellmates killed him was because they felt he shouldn't have gotten that many years. This guy should have been put to death. So he took it upon his hands to wait, catch him alone while he's doing his sanitation duties, caught him alone and decided to beat him to death. But according to his killer, to the cellmate, these were Jeffrey Dahmer's last words. Now, once again, Dahmer was killed by a fellow inmate in prison on November 28, 1994. His final words spoken to his killer were actually pretty eerie. Right when his killer was about to take his life, Dahmer looked at him and told him, "I don't care if I live or die. Go ahead and kill me." That's what he said. Those were Dahmer's last words right before his cellmate took his life. Okay. Dahmer's resignation hinted at the torment soul behind the monstrous acts. So once again, his words were, "I don't care if I live or die. Go ahead and kill me." He knew he would never see the light of day. He knew he would never get parole. He knew he would spend the rest of his life in prison. So probably that's what encouraged him to say, you know what, if I don't die right now, you guys are eventually going to get me. So might as well just kill me. But those were his last words. "I don't care if I live or die. Go ahead and kill me." Now, his parents went on record years later saying that he was a born-again Christian. He had given his life to Jesus. He was a Christian. Look, man, why a lot of people find it hard to believe when people go to jail, if they are Christian or people of the book, or if they're a believer, or if they now believe in Jesus, or if they repent, is because you didn't do that out here. You didn't do that out here. You go in there and immediately you want to hide behind the cross. You know what's trending now today, and it's so sad? That social media exposes people's lives. You could have a secret from somebody and expose it on social media. And before it goes viral, that person that you're about to expose all of a sudden becomes a born-again Christian. That's what's happening today. There's a saying in jail that I'm born again until I'm out again. And that's what they're saying. You're actually making people look foolish, real believers. That when you go in there, you try to say, well, I'm a Christian now. You're born again until you're out again. That's what mostly happens. They're born again in jail, and when they come out, they're just a regular Joe once again. So Jeffrey Dahmer's parents tried to say that he was a Christian. Whether he was or not, I don't know. That is between him and God. He's no longer here. I don't judge the man. But my condolences to those families that lost their sons and their loved ones. I'm not going to sit here and joke about it because those family members are still hurting. Parents are hurting. Brothers and sisters are hurting. So I'm not going to try to seem some type of comical or entertaining just so people can get views. I'm not going to do that. But I do want to talk about this one person whom I have no respect for. I think she's evil for saying what she said. I think she's demonic, and I think she needs to be held accountable for her stupid words. And if you could please put up the next picture, and if you can read it to us.
It says Jeffrey Dahmer's victim family calls Ariana Grande sick for naming murderer her ideal dinner date.
So Ariana Grande just recently said that Jeffrey Dahmer would have been her ideal dinner date. This guy was convicted of killing 17 people, having sex with their dead bodies, decapitating them, and collecting bone and body parts. And this sick individual said that this guy, this monster, is my dinner date. It's my ideal dinner date. What does that say about her? Now, somebody may say, because this is the way. This is your guy just get out of jail free card. Well, Tony, she's in the industry. She just did it for clout. This is what they say. It's a joke. Alice, can I give you a hypothetical scenario?
Yeah.
Okay. Say that you had a family member that was brutally murdered by Richard Ramirez.
Yeah.
He was decapitated. Richard Ramirez ate his eyeballs, buried his arms and legs in different states, and then went to jail and laughed about it. And then you got people like Ariana Grande, Madonna, Beyonce saying, "Ooh, I would love to go out with Richard Ramirez. He is so sexy." How would you feel as a family member to that person? Do you think that would be entertaining or funny?
No, I would think that there's something wrong with them.
Because there is something wrong with them. I wouldn't want to sit next to that person. I don't care if his life has changed. What he did to those people, I just can't. And for her to say it's my dinner date because you're a sick person. And she needs to be held accountable. You know how we do away with these people? You no longer support them. So my condolences to those families that lost their loved ones because of this monster. But those were his last words. That he didn't care if he lived or if he died. So our next one we come to is Ted Bundy. If we can bring up his picture. Okay. Ted Bundy is somewhat similar, except not the cannibalism of Jeffrey Dahmer. This guy would kill women and keep their bodies for days and have sex with them. Meanwhile, go home, cuddle up with his wifey, his kids, live a normal life, go to school, study. It's funny how a lot of these women, I don't know if they pay him to say this, but they'll say stuff like, "Oh, he had such Hollywood good looks." This guy's not good looking. You guys said the same thing about Richard Ramirez. He was such a good looking man, and I just don't know, maybe because I'm not a woman, I just don't see it. But according to this monster, he confessed to 28 murders. But people believed he was responsible for hundreds. But he only confessed to 28 murders. Now, he didn't confess immediately. As a matter of fact, he maintained his innocence for a long time. Let's move on. One of the most notorious serial killers in American history, Ted Bundy terrorized the nation during the 70s. Convicted of numerous murders, Bundy was executed in the electric chair on January 24th, 1989. 1989, I was 21 years old. His final words were chilling, cryptic. I guarantee you that you guys would never guess what his final words were. Okay? See, many of you guys think that a lot of these killers would say something like, "Hail Satan," or "I'm going to hell, highway to hell," or whatnot. I think a lot of these guys were thankful that they were caught. I'll give an example. The son of Sam supposedly heard, voices coming from a dog to tell him to kill people. But later on when they caught him, he said he was thankful for being caught. I wonder if some of these guys are just thankful that they were caught, knowing that they would have killed again. So when I heard these last words from Ted Bundy, it surprised me. And what the detectives said when he said these last words, and these were his last words: "I'd like you to give my love to my family and my friends." Those were his last words. A guy that confessed to 28 murders, but most people believe he was responsible for hundreds of women that he murdered and slept with. "I'd like you to give my love to my family and friends." Bundy maintained an air of charm and charisma until the end, leaving a lasting impression of those who studied his case. Now, when he was thrown to death row and he knew he was about to die, that's pretty much when he confessed to the 28 murders. And I recommended this to you guys before. There's a gentleman, I believe, I'm not sure what part of Colorado, but his name is Dr. James Dobson. I believe, I'm not sure if he's a Christian minister but I know he's a Christian radio host. Dr. James Dobson, and look up interviews Ted Bundy. This was Ted Bundy's last interview. And I just kind of go briefly in a nutshell what he said, that it all started with watching soft porn. Soft porn meaning magazines, then eventually escalated. And then he said that eventually he just wanted to do it. And it began to grow and grow and grow and grow. And he said whatever he laid his eyes to, that's what he wanted to do. So now I tell you, for those of you guys that are struggling with certain things, what are you laying your eyes to? Is it possible that whatever you're putting before your eyes, this is what you're doing, this is what you want to do, and eventually it's only going to get worse? According to Ted Bundy, this is what happened to him. And these were his last words. Now, once again, supposedly, according to Dr. James Dobson and Ted Bundy's confession, that he became a born-again Christian in prison. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not saying he did. But this is what was reported. Now, when the police were there, when the detectives were there, when he said his last words, this one police officer said this: "You should have seen his face. You should have seen his eyes. It was like you were watching a little kid in trouble by his mother, like his mother caught him doing something. Like he truly, genuinely looked like a child." Was he feeling remorseful? Was he sorry for what he did? There's people were saying that eventually he ended up apologizing to the family members. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I don't have that on record, except what I seen online. But is it possible for somebody to feel remorseful? Yes, I do believe that. I do, but those were his last words. "I'd like you to give my love to my family and my friends." Let's go to number 3. Eileen Wuornos. Eileen Wuornos. I know a lot of you guys probably have seen that movie Monster. Did you ever see that that movie, Alex, about Eileen Wuornos, Monster?
No, I haven't.
It's actually a really good movie. And the actress, I forgot her name. If you get a chance to look it up, Alex, give her name, because she did a wonderful, wonderful job. And the reason why I say look her up, because I saw an interview where it was like a behind the scenes where she was still dressed like this woman, Eileen Wuornos, who was pretty much a sex worker who ended up killing the men that she was sleeping with. So they made a movie about her called Monster, or The Monster, something like that. And the actress, there was a part where she's playing her. There's a somewhat of a sex act. There's a struggle. And this actress shoots the guy that is trying to sexually assault her. And they say, cut. And she stopped. And she said, I just needed a moment. And she began to cry. And the director noticed that and later approached her and said, what happened? And then she said, you know what? It's hard being her, knowing what she went through, reenacting it all. It's overwhelming. I've met a lot of actors and I've known a lot of directors. I've interviewed several successful directors. And I've talked to a lot of directors. The Hughes brothers, just to name a few. Rashidi Harper. Rashidi Harper did, he just recently, what is the name of that? Kevin Hart and Chris Rock documentary on Netflix. Before that, he did Hip Hop Uncovered on FX, which was a docuseries. The Hughes brothers, who not only directed my first videos, but also did Menace to Society, did Presidents, they did the Defiant Ones for Dr. Dre, Jimmy Iovine's Story, etc. And they say that a lot of these actors, they really, really get into that role, like they become that person. So when this actress said what she said about it's overwhelming playing her, I understand, because I've had these directors tell me that they literally become this person. The guy that played the Joker on Batman who passed away, do you remember his name? Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger.
Oh, Heath?
Yeah.
Okay, Heath Ledger. Okay. According to Jack Nicholson, he was quoted for saying that he talked to Heath Ledger before he played the Joker, because Jack Nicholson was the Joker in the first Batman. So he should be careful with that role, because that role will consume you. It will consume you. And soon after that role, Heath Ledger passed away. So now, Eileen Wuornos gained notoriety as one of America's first female serial killers, murdering 7 men between 1989 and 1990. Her tale was one of tragedy and darkness. She often killed the Johns, who assaulted her repeatedly. Convicted and sentenced to death, she was executed by lethal injection. By lethal injection on October 9th, 2002. In her final moments, Wuornos declared, now this is, for me, this is eerie, okay? She maintained her innocence for a long time, pretty much saying, I killed in self-defense, I killed in self-defense, I killed in self-defense. When she was facing death row and she knew, like, okay, I better do something or else they're going to take my life. Let me see if I tell the truth, they may lay off and they won't execute me. Well, it didn't work. She just admitted, I just killed him. Cold-blooded. That's how she said, I just killed him. After years of maintaining her innocence, that she did it in self-defense, she just finally said, okay, if I tell the truth, maybe they'll let me go, or at least be easy on me where I won't have to die. And she just said, I just killed him. Well, they executed her, but her last words were, I'd just like to say I'm sailing with the Rock, and I'll be back like Independence Day with Jesus on June 6th, like the movie, big mothership and all, and I'll be back. She stayed defiant till the end. So she believed she was going to come back in June 6th, like with Jesus on Independence Day, talking about on the mothership, the movie Independence Day with Will Smith. She never came back. She died. It has been appointed for man to die once and then judgment. There's nobody's going to come back. There's nobody. Harry Houdini believed that he can escape out of everything. He believed that when he died, he'll find a way back. He's not back. And it's sad that this person, was a sex worker. She, for years, said she was sexually assaulted, but then she just said, I just killed him. And you should look into, you guys, some of the interviews that this person has done, and you'll see what kind of person she was. She also even admitted that she would have continued. So I'm glad that they put her away. Okay. She died once again on October 9th, 2002, but she never came back. So that was the story of Eileen Wuornos. Okay. Did you ever find the actress? No? Okay. Okay. Now let's bring up number 4, and this is John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown. John Wayne Gacy. Now, I seen this documentary, and if you guys get a chance, look up this man's documentary on Netflix. And it's only to educate yourself on this. Now, Tony, why would I need to be educated? Why would I need to know about this monster? Because nobody knew that this guy was hiding over 25 bodies buried under his house. He was a community leader. People loved him. He had barbecues. He was dressed like a clown for kids. Not knowing that they were going to his house, his backyard, to barbecue, and there was over 25 bodies, some people say 27, 28, buried under his house. Nobody ever suggested anything. He's a nice guy. John Wayne Gacy. Yeah, had a couple of beers with him. Throw some of the funnest barbecues. Yeah, he came to my house dressed like a clown. Asked my daughter, took pictures with her. Nobody ever thought. And I just think that those are the guys that are most dangerous. Isn't it funny that he was killing young boys, killed a lot of young people? And I'm just kind of just giving you the meat of it. But I encourage you to go watch that on Netflix. I do believe that you guys will educate yourself, not to just to trust anyone because they look or seem safe. No, this guy, he wouldn't hurt anybody. No, yeah, he did. He hurt a lot of people. And when he was arrested, the police officers in that documentary literally said it was like this guy waited for this. He was bragging about, oh yeah, I did that. Oh yeah, I did that. Like he was taking credit. He loved it. You know, the reason why a lot of these guys love it is because it's like sex to them. Whatever made them feel good, that was sex to them. And I'm just not talking about intercourse. If some people get off on torturing someone, the reason why they continue to do it is because it's like sex to them. If they continue to decapitate and kidnap people and beat people to death and torture them, it's because it's like sex to them. And they just keep doing it, and guess what? The fetishes just grow bigger and bigger and bigger. So a little bit more about this John Wayne Gacy psychopath, known as a killer clown, because he publicly performed as Pogo the Clown prior to being found guilty of his crimes. John Wayne Gacy preyed on young boys in the 1970s, luring them to his home before brutally murdering them. Now, I can't sit here and make a joke and smile while I'm telling you this stuff, because there's victims out there that are still suffering because their loved ones were taken by this animal. So I'm being sympathetic, and my condolences to those families that lost loved ones because of this guy. And he was luring young boys, most likely overpowering them, beating them, sexually abusing them, and then burying them under his house. And then going to the next party dressing like a clown. And then people not having any idea who this guy was, and they're bringing in a serial killer into their home to take pictures with their sons and daughters and eat with and drink with him, and then lure him to his house and do the same thing. I don't trust anybody, especially when I'm out with my grandbabies. I don't trust anyone. There's people that have said, "Hey, are those your grandbabies?" Yeah, man. What are the names? So and so and so and so. That's what I'll say. Oh man, do you mind? You're not gonna touch him, bro. You're not gonna. If you don't want me to touch you, you don't touch him. As a matter of fact, I'll take it a step further, and I'm talking to you, men. Protect the children, even if they're not yours. Protect the children, even if they're not yours. I don't have to worry. At least I would like to believe I don't have to worry about mothers. You want to see a woman turn into a lion? You mess with her kids. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Guys like this, I wish I could have gotten a hold of him. But nevertheless, convicted of 33 murders, Gacy was executed by lethal injection on May 10th, 1994. His last words were hauntingly mundane. This will give you an example of what kind of piece of crap this guy was. He said, "Kiss my ass." Those were his last words. Should have been no mercy on this guy. See, he said, "Kiss my ass." Gacy's defiance and lack of remorse persisted until the very end. And now when you're in hell, go ahead and tell Satan, kiss your ass. Let's bring up the next one. Kimberly McCarthy. I had heard of this woman, but I just wanted to bring it up because most people think that serial killers are usually just men. No, but it involves women as well. Okay. Kimberly McCarthy, pretending she was borrowing sugar, Kimberly McCarthy entered the home of a 71-year-old neighbor in Lancaster, Texas in 1997. McCarthy then stabbed and killed her neighbor in a robbery to support a crack cocaine addiction. She was accused of killing 2 other elderly in 1998, but never faced trial in those cases. In June 26, 2013, death by lethal injection became the 500th execution in modern Texas history. Okay, 500th. I'm sorry, 500, not 5th. Her last words, these are her last words, guys. "This is not a loss. This is a win. You know where I'm going. I'm going home to be with Jesus. Keep the faith. Love y'all. Thank you, chaplain." That's what she said. You know, Alex, if you don't mind me bringing something up, and if you can, you have been to prison, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. You've never shied away from that, and you've never bragged about that.
Yeah.
Have you known people that as soon as they got locked up, they became born again?
Yeah.
Now, is that saying kind of true when they say he's born again until he's out again?
Yeah, it is. For the most part, there's some people that do change, but for the most part, there's a lot of people that just go back to their old ways. Because, you know, you go back to your old environment and you become a product of your own environment.
And I can believe that. Now, is Wilmington, where we live, is it a safe neighborhood?
I would actually say lately, yes, it's been safe.
Would you say, I know you weren't born at this time, but from what you've heard and from what you know, and being around active city,
Yeah.
and being around active affiliates in the penitentiary,
Yeah.
would you say that in the 80s and 90s, this was a very, very hostile environment?
Yeah, well, I remember hearing back in the days that there was more murders in this city than... At some point, there was more murders in this city than in any other city in Los Angeles.
You know, and I don't say that braggingly, because there's nothing to brag about. People's lives were lost here.
Yeah.
But I remember in the late 80s and early 90s, they considered Wilmington one of the worst cities to live in LA County. Okay? I survived the gang epidemic here, and I survived the crack epidemic here. Now, just recently in the news, there was a boy that graduated from high school here in Banning High School, and I believe he's going to Yale. He graduated from this neighborhood. He's going to a major university. So I do believe what you said, Alex, about being a product of your own environment, but you do have a choice.
Yes.
You do have a choice. Reason why I say that is because many times people I'd say, well, before we judge a Richard Ramirez, before we judge John Wayne Gacy, we should really look into their past and see, how they were raised. Instead of judging them, we should help them and look into that. Nah, bullshit, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's people that, they really turn to God, and then there's people, just like the story of Moses, and most of the stories about the Bible, it has to do with people forgetting about God.
Look, Alex.
Yeah.
I love my mother and my father very dearly, and they're no longer here with me, okay? I just recently lost a brother.
Yeah.
He's no longer here with me. Growing up and being one of 10 children, I don't ever recall spending quality time with my mother alone or recall spending quality time with my father alone. The only time that I can remember spending quality time with my mother was when my family went to a funeral. My mother told me to stay home with her. And I remember I laid my head on her lap, and I was probably about 5, 6 years old. And I looked up at her, and all she did was cry because we had just lost a family member. That was probably about the only time that I ever spent quality time, alone time with my mother. Other than that, it was always with my brothers, my sisters. I think with my dad, when I was a little boy, his quality alone time with us, he would take me and my brother, my younger brother, to TJ, leave us in the room, and all day he would go out and get drunk, and then at night come back and get us about 9 o'clock, take us to go eat tacos, and then come back, keep us in the room. And then at night again, during the day, he would take off, hang out with his homies. Me and my brother would be in the room again. That was our quality time with my father. I loved my father, I loved my mother, but now I could have said that to say this. Well, I had parents that didn't love me. I grew up around gangs in my environment. I saw crack cocaine. Yeah. I saw prostitution. So I'm going to do the same. No, I chose to do better. You have a choice. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you do have a choice. I remember seeing a lot of people that would say that it was so easy to go back to prison, but most of the people that said that, they just couldn't stay out of trouble themselves, like it's all about you, like how you approach things,
Yeah, no, and I understand that. That's why when people say, oh man, Richard Ramirez, man, that guy right there, he had a brutal upbringing. I understand. Tell that to the families that lost loved ones because of him.
Bro, honestly, anything can be an excuse. If you dive deep enough into anyone's life, anything could be an excuse, bro. And I hate to say it like that, but it's kind of true, like
Absolutely.
Anybody could look for any sad thing in their life and base their whole, and something that might be true, and it might just be something that stuck with you, but still, you always have a choice to do right and wrong.
Absolutely. You could take your picture down now. Yeah. I will most likely eventually do a part 2 of this because there's a lot more last words, I saw a video years ago about Saddam Hussein, who sometimes will call himself Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, which is modern day Iraq. And he said his last words were, Allah is God and Muhammad is his prophet. And then they hung him. Those were his last words. Well, let me tell you, Saddam Hussein, you had better been right that Allah was God and Muhammad was his prophet, because if not, you're going to end up somewhere very, very hot. Okay? You need to make sure. Be careful with your last words. Now, we're eventually going to open up the phone lines. And for every caller, I'm going to ask them a question. So now, I'm going to start with Alex. So, Alex, be ready and give me your best answer. Okay? Have your mic on.
Okay.
Because I'm going to ask you, and you only have seconds to answer.
Okay.
You have 30 seconds, and you're about to die. What are your last words?
I have 30 seconds. Damn. Why?
Okay.
That would be my question. Just why?
Okay. Let us go ahead and open up these phone lines.
Sorry, Tone.
No, it's okay. Hey, man, whatever comes out of your heart, bro.
That's what I would ask. Like, why? Why me?
Well, the thing is, you were told that you only had 30 seconds right now.
No, I mean, why me? Like, why am I dying? Like,
Right.
That would be my question. Like, that would literally be what I would say. Like, why me?
Okay. Well, you're sick and you have cancer, God forbid, and you have 30 seconds to live. Your family's in the room. What are your last words? That's pretty much the scenario.
I love my whole family. That's all I would say. I would just make sure everyone knew I loved them.
Okay. The phone lines are now open, guys. Once again, the topic today, for those of you guys that are already tuning in, are serial killers' last words. And we talked about 5 different serial killers today. So the phone lines are open, you guys. Once again, 5 different serial killers. The first one is probably out of order. Jeffrey Dahmer, once again. Let me look at my notes. Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, Eileen Wuornos, Wayne Gacy, and Kimberly McCarthy. 5 serial killers and their last words, and that's what the topic was today. So, and once again, this topic tonight was inspired by a so-called tweet that was released by OJ the day that he passed away. Before he passed away, there was a tweet on his page on Twitter that said, "I did it." People say it was fake. People say it was Photoshop. I don't know. I just wanted to share it because that's what was trending. Were those his possible last words? I did it. I don't know. So, have you ever heard about that OJ tweet?
No, actually, I didn't.
Yeah. And then we also mentioned about Ariana Grande, who should be canceled, but today's day and age, nobody gets canceled. You only make them more famous.
Yep.
She said that having dinner with Jeffrey Dahmer would be her ideal date. I don't understand how that would be a date.
Did anybody ever, did she ever give a response to that?
No, she just released a statement, and that's what she said. That's what she was quoted for saying. Caller with the 520 number, please call back. So once again, you guys, the phone lines are open. If you guys want to give a call, talk on, here we go right here. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Jess, and I'm calling from Arizona.
How you doing tonight? Thank you for calling and being a part of the show.
I'm doing all right. I was just listening to everything you guys are talking about.
Yes. Let me ask you a question before you ask me or comment on anything.
All right.
You go to the doctor's office, he looks at you, he examines you and tells you got 30 seconds to live. What are your last words?
Father, forgive me for all my sins, and thank you, Jesus, for shedding your blood for me. In Jesus' name, amen.
What a wonderful way to go out. And he hung up. And he went out. Thank you, caller, for calling that. I truly appreciate that. The phone lines are open, you guys. Here we go. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Tony A. Caesar from Paris.
Caesar from Paris. My question to you before you comment on anything. God forbid this happens, but it's just a hypothetical scenario. Just got into a car crash. The ambulance comes and says you got 30 seconds to live. What are your last words?
Tell my wife and my kids that I love them very much.
Beautiful words. Go ahead, Caesar.
That's all it is. Now let's talk about these crazy ass motherfuckers that want to have dinner with these fucking psychopaths, Tony A. What's going on with that?
Exactly. That's what she was quoted for, and that was on People's Magazine, and that's what people heard her say. That's what she wanted to do. Ariana Grande. This person shouldn't be supported.
Not at all. And I'll bet you she won't be singing the same tune once this guy gets a hold of her cheeks or something, starts slicing off a piece of a side of beef out of her. See how she'll be thinking about, or even thinking about the families that people have destroyed, Tony A.
Exactly.
That's another thing. let's talk about this. You know what I mean? We're always giving clout to these pinche monsters, and I get it. It's entertaining, and also it's informative. You really want to know what will make these guys sick, and women, because sometimes the women are more crazier and sicker than the guys. Oh yeah, the movie that Charlize Theron did, The Monster. You remember that, 28?
Yes.
That girl was off the chain.
Not to give that,
a monster.
Not to give that woman, that monster, credit, but that was a good movie.
Absolutely, and it still doesn't show you the horrificness of these people on a regular Tuesday or a Wednesday afternoon, Tony.
Yes,
these people, they belong. Fortunately, they do get caught. A lot of them don't, but unfortunately, they get what they deserve at the end. But one thing for sure is we shouldn't give these guys too much clout, because they are families to this day that have to see these movies, read these books that are fucking top sellers, and it's really about the families that they're really hurt and left behind.
I agree.
But they're so especially rich people, they should be more responsible. A lot of people listen to them, and they do have a following. And for them to say something like that, sorry, responsible, Tony, you know what I mean? Let's lighten up a little bit. Let's see how much. You know what I mean, Tony? Let's see how much these celebrities, which celebrities are millionaires. Let's see how many of these celebrities actually did something for the family.
Wonderful point. Yeah. I agree.
From Paris, Tony. Caesar from Paris, and I'm out.
Thank you, my bro. The phone lines are open, you guys, if you guys want to call in. Once again, on the description of this episode, I would like for you to follow Dark Secrets on Instagram and Dark Secrets on YouTube. You'll be hearing stories from a mortician. And I truly believe you guys will truly enjoy those episodes. I like to support and bless my friends. So do that. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, Tony. This is Max from Portland, Oregon.
Max from Portland, Oregon. I have a question for you before you comment anything. You drive, pure hypothetical. You drive out of work, you get hit by a stray bullet, the ambulance arrives and tells you got 30 seconds to live. What are your last words?
I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad. And I love my sister.
Beautiful words. Go ahead.
Yeah. I wanted to comment on the serial killers. These people and actually, I wanna bring up this quote. It says, "I'm not scared of the dead. It's the living that scares me." And I don't know, I think every Mexican or every Latino has heard of that expression that if you do certain things, then a cucuy, it's gonna get you or something, or there'll be a cucuy under your bed or something.
Yes.
I have ties to the underground. I have ties to, well, actually not any longer, but I had ties with the celebrities. And you'd be surprised how crazy these people, mostly everyone, they have this animal instinct. They love the adrenaline. They love the blood rushes. They prey on weak people. And you can also see on the females, with the females. You see a lot of them steal. They have money, but they steal because they just love that blood rush.
Yes.
They just love getting caught And if you, like you said, on you know, a lot of these killers, they just want to get caught. It's like a game for them.
Yes.
It's like and in fact, I've seen videos and I heard stories where they have it's like Hunter Games, or what's that movie called? I think
Yes.
it's called Hunter Games, right? Yeah, where they hunt humans.
Mm.
And you know, you mentioned this before, where movies do tell you the truth, and this actually happens. You know, they do hunt humans. It just, you know, it sounds very fake, but there's still actually about it too. There's videos about it.
Yeah.
And an interesting thing too about serial killers is that they act normal. They're not. I don't think they're humans. They're more on their animal side. You know, they're more. They have that savage side where they mimic human emotions. They mimic your average human emotions, and they try to blend in.
Yeah.
I think they have the schizophrenia. I really do think so. I do think because as a kid, I kind of, if I remember correctly, I think I had that too as well, where I would hear voices. I didn't do anything crazy, but I would hear voices.
Yeah.
You know, but with time, you know, you kind of lose that, and it's no longer there.
Yeah.
But I come from hunter families, you know, where we hunt animals, and it's just kind of like you get this blood rush, you know, you love the adrenaline, and so I can relate with these people, but they do with people, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. As far as the celebrities, I know some females that, like I said, you know, they have connection with the underground world.
Yeah.
And when I said underworld, I mean people that are in the shadows, that they're doing all the, you know, nasty stuff.
Yeah.
And these females, they love power. They love being controlled by another man because they're out of control themselves.
Yeah.
I think.
Let me ask you something, caller. How do you know these females?
Yeah. Well, I don't know them personally. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm connected with a lot of high power political people, judges from Mexico.
Okay.
You know, been to parties from. You know, I don't really like to talk about it, but I know about that world.
Okay.
I just know, and people speak, and everyone's talking about you. It's like everyone observes you. They watch you. Everyone's a stalker. Like they want to know who you are. It's like, you know, what they say. You know, the walls. They hear you.
Yeah.
What's that word? What's that saying? Is that's why they hablan?
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
All good, caller. Thank you, caller, for being a part of the show, man.
But I do also want to mention is that your average woman also, you know, they just love the thrill. They love if you watch it, a woman's behavior. They love watching criminal. They love watching like Criminal Minds or just like anything that is gives them a thrill. They just love that.
Yeah.
Because they just love to be controlled.
Yeah. All good.
I also I wanted to talk about my friend.
What's that?
Just quickly, I wanted to talk about my friend. One friend that got actually passed away. He got killed in a car accident.
Okay, let's wrap this up.
I remember this happening. Yeah, it was in 2011, and when he died, the moment he died, he updated his Facebook saying that he was alive. That was his last word.
Wow.
And that's all. Sorry, I think that'll be all.
Wow. Okay. thank you for that, man. Thank you for taking the time and sharing that with us. I wish you could have went a little bit deeper in these people that are involved in the underground, but maybe for the next call.
Yes, for sure. Have a good night.
Yes, sir. A blessed night. You know, Alex, it's funny that he said that a lot of these women like a lot of these serial killers, you know. I think a lot of these women that like the serial killers, there's something mentally wrong with them. Gil Carrillo, one of the retired detectives now that brought Richard Ramirez to justice, he said that when he would go to the trials that women, groupies, serial killer groupies would show up.
Yeah.
You know, and you guys can watch that episode. But that's what he said. They had groupies.
It's been a trend to have inmate boyfriends and stuff.
Yes. Call it your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Tony? Yeah, it's Ed calling out of YC. So, I feel, man. So I was gonna mention, bro. Speaking of which, just off of the title, because I didn't get to watch the beginning because I'm over here at work. So I figured during my little break, let me give you a call and mention some stuff that happened locally of serial killer. Yeah, he's a pretty heavy serial killer out here, and I guess it's like one of the most famous things that the city's known for over here on it's upstate Cali.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I guess I think there's been a lot of people that usually like in channels like dudes that have been to. I wouldn't say necessarily like dudes that did time, but like I wouldn't just say channels that just talk about that, but dudes that went through it that mentioned this guy that might have been in a pin that where the dude was on, probably like on another side.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think since these fools like they put him like in safe areas in the pintas and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I guess this fool ended up being like in a yard or some shit with Marilyn Manson, like in areas like that are special for these cats.
Okay.
And se llama el güey I think it's so the city, it's Yuba City, California, and it's Juan Corona, bro. So I think this happened like in the 60s. I think it was like the early 60s.
Okay, Juan Corona.
And it's an interesting. Simon, yeah, and it's interesting. I think he barely recently died, bro. Like not too long ago.
Alex, look him up. Juan Corona.
Yeah,
okay.
And he was a migrant worker that I think he became a boss, and he was relatively successful in some of the things that he did. And it was a trip, bro, because he killed a shitload of like drifters, like the drifters and migrant workers, I guess that and I guess he would dig some up like in the orchards, like they ended up being found. I don't know if they found like 20 or 30 bodies, some shit. It was a lot, bro.
Wow.
And they're saying that a lot of them that they believe, but here's the trippy part, bro. His brother was he had a brother that lived here that ended up he was here for a while, but he ended up going back to Mexico because this guy was openly gay, like flamboyant about it, and he would try to hit on dudes like out here that were straight. And this was like, we're talking about like the 60s, bro. So imagine a lot of people probably don't really like, they're not used to raza. They probably don't like raza yet. And this was over here trying to hit on cats.
No, that's a great point.
But yeah, it's a trip, bro. Like it's crazy. Like he was like, he didn't care, bro. And I guess to the point where you'd be stopping vatos trying to touch him and shit, like trying to mac on vatos, like all like aggressive and shit, like trying to touch him.
Oh, he was one
and
of
I guess
those.
he got in trouble. Yeah. Yeah, dog. Like, damn, bro. Fucking. I was like, no mames, güey. Fucking milagro que they didn't knock him out.
Okay, this is the machete murderer, Juan Corona. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into him. Maybe do an episode on him.
Yeah, it's almost like I mean, you don't get a lot of dudes that are. I mean, they make the raza look bad at mine, but you don't really hear about too many fools that are like that. And yeah, it's a trip, bro. Because here's the part that I was gonna mention. I don't want to kill it, bro. I guess you could dive. You could. There's a lot to dive into in that story.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it like this as a cliffhanger, dog. I'll leave it like this, Tony. That a lot of the bodies they suspected foul play because some of them were found with like, it was weird, bro. They had certain clothing on, but some of them would be missing like socks and like or like underwear, or like some of their clothes were like cut off weirdly, like con tijeras or some shit. It was weird, bro. So so they suspected foul play, like maybe maybe he boned them after he killed them and then he buried them or whatever the case may be. But like I said, there's room for you to dive into that story because they said there was foul play. This is just my opinion. It wasn't. I didn't do too much digging into the story myself. That way, I didn't want to. I wanted to leave it for a story for you. I didn't want to ruin it. But I just, in my opinion, it almost seems like maybe he was covering up for some foul play that maybe his carnal did, bro. Because the carnal was open about that. And Corona, I guess the machete killer, supposedly that also had a family and kids. But I'll just leave it at that, bro. But it's a trip, bro. But I'm enjoying the show, man. I'm glad that you've been doing a lot. That you've been doing a lot of episodes lately. And you have a good night, Tony.
Thank you, man. Have a blessed one. Okay, you can take that down. We'll look into that. Thank you for that. Well, yeah, machete murder. Definitely going to look into that. Maybe that's what they got that machete movie from Danny Trejo. Never know. But okay, you guys, we got a couple of minutes. We're gonna go to. We got a couple of minutes, so if you guys want to call in and just share your story, the phone lines are open. I don't want to hear later on that I've been trying to get on, but I can't get on because it's too, it's too busy. But Alex, so far out of these last words from these serial killers, which one was the most that intrigued you the most, if any?
The one from OJ Simpson.
I did it?
Yeah.
Wow. Do you think that's something like he would say?
Yeah.
I think so too. I'm not. Can I say for sure? No.
He always tiptoed around that.
Yeah, he just played around with it too much, and that's why I encourage you guys, if you guys never saw the hypothetical scenario interview on how I would have done it. Here's my thing, Alex. If you're being accused of murdering your ex, and his other gentleman, why would you even do an interview saying, okay, I didn't do it, but if I would have, why would you even entertain such a question?
Because they couldn't take him back to trial again.
Yeah. Call her your name and where are you calling from?
Using call my.
Okay, well.
Fake.
I know.
It never works.
And it seriously, it never works, pal. So, okay, so once again, you guys, the phone lines are open. If you guys want to go ahead and call in right now. If not, I'm just going to stay quiet and just stare at you guys. But I want to thank everybody in the live chat, everybody that's having fun right now, everybody who's called in so far. They've been very, very interesting calls. So if you want to call in and once again ask a question, if not, we will end the calls, continue our conversation with me and Alex, and then end the show. But I just want to thank everybody for participating, for the people that have called. So once again, the phone number is up. Go ahead and give us a dial, and if you have anything that you want to ask me pertaining to the topic or something off topic, maybe an experience, something you went through, something a family member went through, and they pass it down, or something, maybe a friend shared with you a story, you don't have to say their names, but just call in and give us a call. It's funny because when I'm asking people to call in, the calls are slow. When I'm about to end, I get 10, 12, 15, and I just end it. Like, no, you had time to call. So, but anyways, back to that OJ quote. If it is real, say it wasn't him, they got his personality packed down because it fits his personality. So, but John Wayne Gacy's the one that really somewhat took me by surprise when he said, "Kiss my ass."
Well, I mean, that's answer better. I mean, I would say out of all the answers, that's probably like the one you would expect more from a serial killer.
Yeah.
Not a confession, not saying that they're Christian,
Yeah. Yeah, saying that they're Christian. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to leave this up there for about 2 more minutes, and if we don't get a call, then we're just going to go ahead and wrap this up. But I want to thank, once again, everybody who did call. I know for some reason, I know it's a Saturday night. I know there's, MMA fights tonight.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of a busy night, sports night for a lot of you guys. So, but I do appreciate everybody that is tapped in tonight. I truly appreciate you guys. So I'm going to leave this up there for about 2 minutes, and then we'll just go ahead and end it. Okay, let me get ready to end this. Okay.
Hey, maybe for the next topic for another show though, I was getting into looking at people have been using that allergy medicine to Benadryl.
Well,
yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't talk about that.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm just saying that.
Yeah, because somebody will steal that.
Okay.
So and it's sad that that's just the way YouTubers are today. If you kind of give them a hint, they'll go run and make it right now.
Yeah. Damn, that is crazy.
So, because there's a lot of people that aren't creative to come up with their own content, so they'll just steal it.
Yeah.
You know, so, okay, here we go. Call it your name and where are you calling from?
What's up, Tony? It's Lattice from West Texas.
Lattice from West Texas. So, Lattice, hypothetical scenario. You go to a restaurant, you walk out of there feeling sick immediately, you go to the hospital or emergency room, and they said you've been poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
You have 30 seconds to live. What are your last words?
Make mine a double.
There you go. Okay. All good, Lattice.
Yeah, I can imagine that I'd probably need a drink then more than ever.
Okay. Just take a swig and let's go.
But hey, I wanted to touch on that you were talking about earlier, the what's his name? The clown. Gacy.
John Wayne Gacy, yes.
Yeah, if you have studied or seen anything of some of his story, he was able to compartmentalize his life in a way to where a lot of people weren't aware of what he was doing, and that played into how you mentioned he was a clown. He's just an average guy, kind of a nice guy that people knew. And I wanted to know how much you read up on or know about the BTK killer.
BTK?
Yeah, stands for Find, Torture, Kill. That was the moniker he used.
Oh wow!
What he was. A little background on him for people who don't know. He was Kansas. He was in Kansas. Serial killer. He was convicted of killing about 10 people. And some think there's more out there. He was a code enforcement officer. He was a church leader.
Wow.
And a family man. And a lot of people had no idea he was living this double life. And that ties into what I was telling you about Gacy. He was able to compartmentalize his life in a way that nobody had any clue as to what he was doing. The BTK killer would actually schedule appointments and things around town, go fulfill these obligations, and take a quick break from whatever he was doing and go. And now he had already scoped out his victims, so he'd go and do his thing real quick, kill him, whatever he did, come back to his social function or church meeting or whatever, and like he never missed a beat. Some nights he'd stay hours hidden in somebody's closet. He knew the ins and outs of how to get in. He would do his homework on his victims, stalk them, find out the vulnerabilities of their house, how to get in and out. But he was very good at that compartmentalization of being able to live a double life.
Wow. You know what? I'm gonna have to look into it. Maybe it might be worth doing a whole episode on that guy. So the BTK killer. I'm gonna definitely look into that. Oh.
Yeah, he's definitely up there with Bundy and Gacy and Dahmer and all them.
You know what? I've known him by the Dennis Rader. I believe that's his name.
Yeah, Dennis Rader.
That guy. You know what? Yes, I just didn't know him for the BTK killer guy, but wow. Okay, I'll definitely look into that, Lattice.
His daughter's actually on a book tour. She does a lot of public speaking about what it was like to be his daughter and how she had no clue. And then you got to imagine being an adult child and then finding out one day that your parent who went fishing with and camping and, taught you how to ride a bike, was actually doing all these things on the side. And it's a very interesting story. I'd recommend looking into that.
Wow. Okay, thank you, man, for that. And for the people that know who Lattice is, and he is on my other podcast as well. He calls in and he chimes in on the live chat, also on Freaky Tales. Next month, Lattice will be flying in and will be, if you will, we'll be having an episode with me on Rhodium After Dark. Yeah. And I got some very interesting subjects that I want to bring up, topics that I want to ask you, but I'm going to send them to you first for you to okay them and let me know if you're cool with them.
Okay.
So
very well. I look forward to it. And this will be on Sunday the 14th.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you, Lattice, for calling in, man. The same here.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Okay, that was our last caller. Thank you, Lattice. Okay, here we go, Alex. We can take these off now. I'm actually excited, Alex, that Lattice is going to be here next month. And Rhodium After Dark, there's a lot of interesting questions that I want to ask. I know a lot of women, they like him on the live chat. So you're finally going to get to see Lattice from Texas. So thank you, Lattice, for that. Alex, anything you want to add before we end this?
No, well, just all those serial killers, most of them had something in common. And the thing is that they were living two lives. One where they were a normal person, and the other one where they killed people and hid people well and chopped up bodies and did all kinds of things, So just because you see somebody and you think that they're not killers, that's probably one thing that will probably you should cross your mind one time,
Yeah.
Especially if they're too nice, they're too perfect, too much things going on. Because usually it's a person that's like the head of a community or a community leader, so a leader of something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
bro.
It's very rare that it's like a quiet guy that that wasn't involved in anything in his community, or everybody
right.
Everybody that knows them always says, "Oh, they were a good guy,"
the guys that really, really get under my skin, bro, are these so-called men, these cowards that hurt women and children, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, if I ever saw something going on and I protected these women or these children, or the point where I got to take that guy's life,
yeah.
Believe me, when I take my mugshot, I'm smiling. And I don't mind going to jail smiling because I protected a child or I protected a woman from an animal.
Yeah.
And the sad part is that animal still has rights.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, anyways, other than that, anything on the super chat? Any questions?
I'll look right now. No. I only asked people how was their Saturday.
Okay.
172 votes. 72% had a great day. 16% had a freaky day. 5% had a bad day. And 7% said FML.
All good. Once again, as you can see pinned up there, Freaky Tales is letting you guys know to please follow Dark Secrets on YouTube and also follow Dark Secrets on Instagram. If you guys want the links, then the link is in the description of this video. So give Genesis a follow. I think you guys will truly, truly enjoy her content. The content is totally, totally different. It's going to be a lot of mortician episodes. I'm not calling it a podcast because these are going to be episodes. So definitely check that out. So other than that, I just want to thank everybody who took the time to be with us tonight. I want to thank everybody that's on the live chat, everybody who decided not to be on the live chat. I want to thank all of our subscribers. I want to thank all of our members. I want to thank just everyone who liked, commented, and shared. If you guys get on the way out, please hit that like button. It'll help us move our algorithm. I truly would appreciate that. Any last words, Alex?
no, just stay safe out there.
Yes, and once again, let me give a shout out to Alex Cervantes Enterprise. Let me give a shout out to my son, B. Scanless. Let me give a shout out to the Hip Hop Jedi, Marvelous, my co-host. He will be back soon. And also to Forever Genesis, Dark Secrets. Thank you very much. Much love, much respect. Till next time, I'm going to try to go live twice next week, so be looking out for that. Follow me once again on my page, Freaky Tales Podcast on Instagram. Thank you, and we are out.